Amrita Gurney, espero haberlo pronunciado correctamente, si no nos lo va a decir ahora en un momento, vicepresidenta de Marketing y Comunidad de CrowdRiff, en la que dirige un equipo que es el responsable de marketing, de diseño de marca y comunidad de clientes, oradora frecuente, y además lo vais a notar enseguida, en eventos fundamentalmente enfocados a los viajes y turismo alrededor de todo el mundo. Es una plataforma de marketing visual, que es líder y basada en la inteligencia artificial. Así que como no me quiero extender mucho más, sino que disfrutéis de lo que tiene que contarnos, os presento y le doy ya la bienvenida para que nos cuente un poquito más sobre las historias en vivo y las historias de Instagram. Bienvenida, welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, hola. I'm sorry I do not speak any Spanish. I'm coming from Toronto, and this is my first time in Madrid, and I'm very happy to be here, and thank you to Hugo and the team for bringing me here to Landing Madrid. So today we're going to talk about how tourism brands can use two kinds of communication tools. One is Instagram Stories, which is a way to share both photos and videos of your destination, your restaurant, your hotel. And then also I'll share a little bit about how brands are using live video. All right, let's see if I can get this working. There we go. If you have any questions during the presentation or afterwards, feel free to contact me. My contact information is here. Let's see if I can move the slide back one. This does not seem to be working. There we go. So you can contact me by email, just using my first name at crowdriff.com. We also have a lot of free materials that are available on our blog. So if you go to our blog, you can download free ebooks, videos, marketing courses, and look forward to hearing from you. So CrowdRiff is a company that works with about 800 tourism brands across all kinds of experiences and destinations, and we are very happy to be here in Madrid today. Is this working okay? Yeah? Doesn't seem to be working. Okay, thank you. So why am I here to talk about Instagram Stories and live video? Well, I'd like to share that, as many of you know, are many of you in the audience, do you use Instagram Stories yourself? If you do, just raise your hand. Okay. And how many of you use live video already? Okay, maybe one or two. So Stories is actually the fastest growing format of digital content since the internet was invented. As you can see in this graph, there are now over 500 million people who use Instagram Stories every single day. And then if you look at live video as well, let's go back one. When you look at live video, there are many platforms that people use today for live streaming, but I would say the most popular ones in terms of audience size are YouTube, Twitch, Instagram Live, and Facebook Live. With Facebook in particular, about 78% of people are actually using Facebook Live. So if you're online, and we know Facebook has the biggest reach out of any platform now across all of their brands, and so imagine 78% of people online are actually using Facebook Live in some way. And what's also interesting about Facebook Live is that this content gets 6 times more likes, comments, engagement than if you just posted a photo. So if you are taking the time and effort to be online, to use social media, live video is definitely one of the areas where you can get a good response from your audience. And the other benefit of using both stories and live video are that, first of all, you can get, your audience will believe that you are telling the real story of your destination because the content really feels authentic. When you take a picture, let's say you're in this audience now, you're taking a photo of me standing here and speaking. This is something that is not being filtered. You are taking that imagery and sharing it. And so the other people who are looking at this content are very likely to believe the content is real. And then the other thing is, this is the first time that brands can really interact live with their audience in this way. So you can be making a live video, and at the same time, people are sending you messages, and you can actually take those questions and respond. So this is also why live video is very powerful. So first, let's see some examples of how brands are using Instagram stories. So the first thing that people are doing using Instagram stories is they are curating the experiences in their destination. So this is my first time in Madrid, and if I Google things to see in Madrid, there are a million things that I can do. And so as a traveler, this is very challenging. I don't know which things I should see, which cafes should I go to, which museums should I go to. And so if you are representing Madrid, for example, one of the things you can do for your travelers is to curate this experience. And what this means is you can start by saying, okay, let's see what are the top 5 experiences for somebody who's really interested in culture. And one example here is from British Columbia in Canada. So you'll see what they've done here is they have curated 5 coffee shops in one of the cities in British Columbia. So if we can play this video. No? We'll go back one, and then I'll ask you to play it. Yep. Great. So what they've done is they've looked at all of the different cafes that you can go to in British Columbia. Let's see, is this playing? Yeah, there we go. And so 5 coffee shops you can visit. And so they list the coffee shops. They have really beautiful photography. And so if you're visiting this place for the first time, it makes it much easier for you to know what you should be doing. The next thing you can do is to show a local's perspective. So again, I was just talking to Hugo at lunchtime, and he was saying that when he goes as a traveler to a place, he wants to see not just the main tourist sites. He wants to really see, what do people that live in that city do every day? What is life really like in that community? And so if we go to the next slide. Oh, one before. There we go. This is an example from Copenhagen.
Hi, my name is Abdullah. I'm a photographer and content creator. I've been working and hanging out in this neighborhood for the last 10 years. This is just another day in Vesterbro. Vesterbro is one of the most chilled out neighborhoods. A frontrunner when it comes to art, design, and creative spaces. And its food and nightlife scene is one of the most vibrant in Copenhagen.
So what you saw in this video is that this is a local person who is from one neighborhood in Copenhagen, and he is giving you a tour of his neighborhood, just like you would experience if you were living there. And so this is one reason why you can use stories to not just tell the full story of your destination. You may want to show just a small piece of what is happening in one neighborhood. If we go to the next slide, the other thing you can do is create small, bite-sized itineraries. And what that means, again, is that if you are really into, let's say, beach culture, and you are visiting one of the beautiful beach communities in Spain, you don't need to show every single thing to do in Spain. You may want to show just what the experience is like if you wanted to go to a beach destination. And so think about what are the different kinds of travelers you have and what might be a very specific interest that they have. So again, if I'm really interested in wine, you don't need to show me everything to do in Madrid. You can just say, okay, Amrita, or people like Amrita, here is the way to see Madrid if you really are interested in wine. So this next example on the next slide is from Helsinki. And so what they've done is they have taken you through a walking tour. And so they use photography, they use video, but they also have really nice branded graphic elements, including this map, to actually say, if you are visiting Helsinki, here is one walking tour of this particular area. And as you can see, one of the things about Instagram stories is that you need to keep each frame quite short and tell your story in multiple frames instead of traditional video where you could tell your whole story using a very long type of segment. And so just like you would storyboard a video, you can storyboard your stories frames, frame by frame, so that you can take people through what it is you are showing about your destination. If we go to the next slide, the other thing that you can do, of course, is to use stories to promote your event. So suppose you are a film festival or you're hosting a special event at your restaurant. Stories is a very useful tool for bringing people to your event. So if I was marketing Landing Madrid, you can go to the next slide and see that these are some things that I would do if I were using stories. So I would send some teaser videos, which is a video that gives a little sneak peek, and maybe you can send that a few weeks before the event. You can use polls and questions to ask people in advance, what are you interested in? You can highlight your guest speakers, and then you can also build excitement with this countdown feature. And what this countdown feature does is it's a sticker that you apply on your Instagram story, and then other people can also put this sticker in their stories and share your event with their audience as well. The other thing on the next slide that I can share is that Instagram is working on a new feature where they are going to allow you as a brand to directly invite people to your event from stories. So you are going to be able to list your event, the date, the location, and people can actually RSVP from stories itself. So this is a great way, instead of sending email, instead of sending physical mail, you can actually use stories to engage with your audience directly around your event. This is a rough timeline of how you can use stories if you have an event that you're promoting. So 2 to 4 weeks or even earlier, you can give the general itinerary and dates, any special promotions that you're running. Then about 1 week prior is when you want to start this countdown and really build excitement. During the event, you can go live, so you can showcase what is happening during your event. You want to make sure that you are checking your direct messages because people will often try to communicate with you using Instagram during your event if they have questions about what time is lunch, or when is the next session starting, or where can I get the slides from this presentation. All right, and then the last point on stories is that you can use story highlights for longevity. So what this means, if you go to the next slide, is Instagram has these features called story highlights, which you can see pointed out in this red arrow here. So when you create a story, normally that story only lives for 24 hours. And you don't necessarily want that information to go away. Maybe it's really useful. So this is a hotel in Toronto. And what they do is they make videos on their stories, and then they save those videos in their profile so that if you go to this hotel and you go to their Instagram profile, you can click and see videos about dining, about wellness, about their bar, special experiences. So this is another way to get more from your time and money investment. If we go to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about using live video, and I just have 2 or 3 examples to share. So on the next slide, I'll share, again, one of the things you can do with live video is share the real-time conditions of your destination. So if you are from, again, let's say you have skiing in your destination, you might be a ski resort, or maybe you are a restaurant that is on the beach. People want to know, what is it like today? Not just what is it like in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks. They may want to know, what does it really feel like today? And so the next example, if we can play the video, this is a simple time lapse that this ski resort has put on their website using live video. So they had a live cam, and they took video of what the mountain looks like, and they show 24 hours of this experience. So if you are thinking about planning a trip, you can really see what the weather is like before you book your trip, or maybe when you're in destination. Moving on to the next slide, another thing that you can do is a Q&A with a local resident. And to me, this is really a new form of documentary or journalistic type of storytelling. And so when I was coming to Madrid, of course, I wanted to look up what were the great restaurants in Madrid. And when I was doing my research, I found out on the next slide, there was an article in Food and Wine magazine, and they talked about this chef and that he is a real character. And so then I thought, okay, let me look up some information about this chef. So going to the next slide, I saw on Instagram that he really seems to have a very vibrant personality. So again, if I'm the owner of this restaurant, why not use live video as a way to do an interview, maybe go behind the scenes into the kitchen and show what's going on. But really, why not do an interview with him and let people see directly what this chef experience is like. On the next slide, I would say the third way that you can use live video, and this is the most common way that we see live video being used, is to really go behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, what I mean is, let's say you are opening a new hotel. And I'll show you an example in a minute. So the example I'll share is, it's a hotel in the US in a small town. And maybe normally you would just post a picture of the outside of the hotel. But what you'll see in this video is that this person has actually taken you inside a room to show you what the experience of this room is like. And this is not a fancy hotel. This is a very simple hotel. The video is not high production. It's just shot with an iPhone. So if you go to the next slide and we play this video.
Hey, what's happening, Stephanie? How are you?
Hey, I'm great.
Josh with Visit Franklin. We're really excited to be here. We're live on Facebook Live. Have you ever done Facebook Live before?
I have not. It's my first.
Yes, first time. Love it. Woohoo! So yes, we're live here at Home 2 Suites by Hilton, just right outside Franklin, Tennessee, Cool Springs, with Stephanie, our dear good friend, right?
Yes.
So tell us, we're in a suite right now, right?
You are indeed.
And I gotta tell you, this looks awesome. Pan around, Jamie, show it to
Yeah.
me. This couch looks really cool, great little bed. Look at this view. You can see outside, you can see the rolling hills of Franklin, Tennessee. How many rooms would you say have a great view like this?
We're probably looking at about 55 to 60 rooms.
And then on the other side, you got a view of the great campus that you sit on, which we'll
Yes.
walk through, right?
Okay, I think we can stop this video. So this is just an example. I don't know if you could understand his American accent, but he, again, is just showing you what this new hotel looks like, what the view from the window is, what the bed looks like, what the room looks like. In this next example, this is the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, and I don't know if you know, but they're actually doing a restoration of their most famous painting, the Night Watch. And so what they are doing is they have live video in their museum that is actually showing the restoration, and they're posting this on YouTube. So they do a live stream on YouTube as well as Facebook Live, and they post this on YouTube so that you can watch it later. So if we play a little bit of this video. Is it possible to forward the video a little bit? Can we forward the video a little bit? Yeah. Perfect, thank you.
Ja, het is belangrijk. Ja, die
So you can
grondlaag die
see
Rembrandt,
in the
voor
back
de
here,
dagwacht heeft
they
gebruikt, is
are
eigenlijk een heel
restoring this
bijzondere
painting,
grondlaag.
and they are speaking with the
1642
people
is de
who are
dagwacht
involved
geschilderd en
in the
Rembrandt gebruikte
restoration.
voor het eerst.
And
En wij
so
noemen
this
dat
is
een
something that a
kwartsgalerie.
museum can
Daar
easily
is al
do.
eerder onderzoek
I
naar
think we can
gedaan
stop
door
this
onder
one
andere
now.
het Rembrandt Research Project en
Yep, I think we can pause the
Groen.
video now. Yeah, thank you. So this is another thing that you can do if you are, again, a museum, an art gallery. Let's say you are doing renovations on your property. You can use live video to keep people following along in your story so that they understand more about your business and what you're doing. So next we're going to talk about using user-generated content to create these great videos. And user-generated content, if we go to the next slide, are these photos that people share on social media. So I really love art. Every time I go somewhere, including today, I made a little trip to the Prado this morning. I like to take a picture in a museum. And I post this picture on Instagram. So if you are a brand, you can get permission from me to use this imagery, your photos, your videos, in your marketing. So if you go to the next slide, you can see that one of the benefits of doing this is that you can keep up with the content demands of being a marketer today. So if you are a brand and you use social media, it's very hard to post every single day because you don't necessarily have the time to go and take the videos and the photos. Instead, why not use the photos and videos from other people with their permission to use on your channels? The next thing is that it's very authentic. So again, I take a photo in a museum. It's not perfect. It's not showing an empty museum. It's showing the reality, the real life of what's happening in that museum. So when someone else looks at this, they believe what they're seeing. And then lastly, it's effective. So we use our own product, CrowdRiff, to measure what happens when you show those images to other people on your website, for example. So we know that people who look at this imagery are 6 times more likely to share this imagery. If they are looking at an ad and the ad has a photograph that's taken by a regular person like me, they're more likely to click on that ad by 3 or 4 times. So I'll share some examples of how you can use this content. So on the next slide, maybe we'll go one more slide. So the first thing you can do is to take, let's say, 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 individual photos and put them together to make a short little video. And so this is something that was done, if we go back one slide, yeah. So Destination Canada, they use this a lot. So if they want to create a video, they don't just use their own video content. They look at all of these videos that other people are posting on Instagram. They get permission to use that video, and then they combine it into a longer compilation video. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that, again, one of the easiest things you can do is to take this great user-generated content and just simply repost it to your stories. Next, you can highlight a particular event or theme or season. So you may want to do a series of posts just on winter dining in Madrid, for example. Or right now it's very cold in Toronto, but it's hockey season. So maybe you want to do a series of stories just about hockey fans, and you can post user-generated content from hockey fans to your Instagram stories. Again, as I shared earlier, you can use your profile section, like you see highlighted here, to save these stories in your profile around all of your unique experiences. And then last but not least, you can use all of this user-generated content to generate excitement using a contest. So in this example, they ran a contest in Canada. So if you posted a photo and you used the hashtag, that you would receive an entry into a much bigger prize. And they received so many beautiful images that they are now able to use in their marketing. And if you go to the next slide here, on their website, they are showing all of the images that people have posted of that destination during this contest. And then, of course, questions and polls are a great way to get people to engage with your content. So you can use questions and polls to ask people what they think of some of these experiences, and then you can also share their answers. So instead of you saying that this is a beautiful lake, you are posting a quote from this person with her photograph and her caption saying why she really loves this place. And then last but not least, you can engage and interact with your community. So one of the things that this destination did, they're in America, they asked a question, tomorrow morning, what would you like to do? Sleep in or see the sunrise? And then another question, where would you like to have drinks? At the bar or while you're walking around? And so they took all of the answers that people shared in this poll, and then they created videos that answered these questions. So if somebody was really interested in stand-up paddling, they made a video that they shared on their stories about the stand-up paddling experience. These are a few other examples of other destinations that are using stories to do the same thing. So just to summarize, I know earlier we had a question from the audience that social media is not necessarily the best way to measure if someone is coming to your destination or to your business, but we know today that people like to see content on different formats, and stories and live video are two of the fastest growing formats of content. So it's not just 18 and 20-year-olds who are using social media, it's people like me. I'm a 40-year-old woman from Canada, and there's lots of people my age and older and younger who have lots of money, who like to travel, who actually use things like Instagram and live video to decide where we want to spend our money. So if you do have any questions, I can take some now, and otherwise feel free to send me an email or to visit our blog and look at some of our content. I hope you were able to follow along. I know that it was a lot of information, and thank you so much. Yes?
Tell me, these stories, as you said, they are only living for 24 hours.
Yes.
Should they use a story instead of a post?
So what we're seeing now is that people watch stories more than they watch the posts. And so most brands now are doing both. So they will make a post because some people will still look at it, but more people are now looking at stories. And the other thing you can do with stories is, even though they only last for 24 hours, now Instagram allows you to save them so that you can use the story and somebody can look at it later. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.